by the age of 24, my claim to fame is that by the age of 24, I'd bought $2 million worth of property using none of my own money, right? And I remember it was December 10th, 2003, coming up to my 24th year. That's when I basically left the workforce. So I don't know many other people who can basically walk away from the conventional workforce in their 20s and then still be able to invest full time. And that's basically my claim to fame, and that's my journey, and that's what I've been able to create. And I started out buying little houses like this, right? This one here, $67,000, and it was in a suburb called Bellbird Park. And this was my third property deal, and the first property deal, like Amanda mentioned before, I started out with $4 grand, bought a house for $55,000, first homeowners grant, and then ran out of money. So then I thought, okay, I've got this goal to be a multi-millionaire. How am I going to buy all these properties when I've got no money? So I thought, okay, let's go out, do some seminars, listen to some tapes and some books, read some books, and see what I could learn. And that's when I started my journey out to do no money down deals, because I had no money. And so the second deal that I did, I borrowed 20% deposit from my dad on a $45,000 property. Do the maths, 9 grand. And back then, 9 grand was a lot of money to me, because it was the opportunity to buy a property that I wasn't able to do. So that was the second property, and this was the third one here. And this one here, the principle I want to start with is buy under market value, because this property here was worth $85,000 based on my research, and a mortgagee in possession deal, that's where the bank takes the property back. And we got it for 67, and it was worth 85, and we did on-sell it for $85,000. And in this instance, I actually found an investor who put the money in to pay for the whole deal. So he had a good job with Qantas at the time, was earning good money, and put down a 5% deposit and borrowed the rest from ANZ, and on-sold that property there. The way we sold it was through a concept called vendor finance, which Jay mentioned before. And bottom line, it's like a long-term settlement, but along the way you get some really good cash flow. So we were receiving $400 a month passive income from that for every month during that time that they stayed in that property and were buying it from us. And then I get this phone call. A phone call about a year later that we'd on-sold with them, says, oh, Nhan, we're looking at on-selling the property because the market had gone up, and is that okay with you? I said, yep, no worries, as long as you give me first dibs. So I said to them, okay, yep, that's cool, let's do that. And I ended up buying it off them for $140,000. I bought it for 67, sold it for 85. Why would I buy it off them for 140? Because I knew it was worth a lot more, right? It was worth 190 back then. And all they had to know was that they bought it for 85, on-sold it for 140, and they'd made really good money, tax-free, because they were owner-occupiers, right? And then I bought it off them for 140, and then on-sold it a couple of years later for 190. So in terms of weird and wacky things, I've done them all, right? The first house I bought, to make sure it was positively cash flowed, you know what I did? I moved in with the tenants. Imagine that, right? Imagine, you know, if I said to my wife, you know, let's buy a house, let's move in with a tenant, she'd shoot me. But as a single bloke, you know, I'd do whatever I could to make it positively cash flowed. It was $55,000, the rent was $130 a week, and then I gave them a discount to $100 a week, and then I basically moved in one of the bedrooms, and yeah, the other couple who were renting the place stayed in the other 2 bedrooms, and I was only there, you know, probably a few hours a day, slept over, those kind of things. So if you're looking at weird and wacky things to have done to a property to make things work, I've done them. If you don't have money rules, money will rule you. That's my quote. So what do you think I mean by money rules? So the first question I've got for you is, how much money are you willing to invest? How much money are you willing to invest? Think about that. If you haven't got an answer to that, that's okay. I'm going to start opening up a world of maybe you don't have an answer to a few things. And if you do, great, write them down. Do you need a pen? No, you're right. How much time are you willing to invest? Some of you say, I want to buy a property a month for the next 12, 18 months, but you only want to spend 5 minutes a week on realestate.com.au. That's not realistic. So next question, first one is how much money are you willing to invest? Second one is how much time are you willing to invest? What's your minimum return on investment? %10 per annum, 100% per annum. Like I mentioned before, I will be giving these on slides, but if you feel the need to write them down to clarify it for yourself, great. How long are you willing to wait for your capital or profit? Like it was Ross, is that right? Yeah. Yeah, so Ross is a property developer. He's got rules with a project. He may not take on a land subdivision. I assume that's what you're talking about, putting roads, unless he knows that's either there's an approval there already, or you'll take an approval through, which may take 6, 12, 24 months, and then you know you're not going to get paid for 4 years possibly. You know, is that something that you're willing to do? And those are the questions you need to address for yourself when you look at a deal. How long are you willing to wait for your capital or your profit? Are you willing to wait 4 years to get paid? If you are, beautiful. You've got to just find out what your rules are. How much under market do you need to buy to make it worthwhile? How much under market do you need to buy to make it worthwhile? When people buy and sell, physically buy it, own it and sell it, there are lots of ingoing and outgoing costs, roughly 5% in, 5% out. But then there are other costs if you're developing it, renovating it, holding costs. So how much under market value do you need to buy to make it worthwhile?